Hello friends, Dina Swanson again, aka Kitty Girl, and this is part 2 of my process video for my dream destination Italy Vineyards junk journal page. So a little about the page, I wanted to go ahead and reiterate 8.5 by 11 folded in half, dream destination of your partners. That some of the other criteria is it has to have at least one pocket, one tuck spot, a belly band or an interesting tuck, and then it has to have a minimum of 4 tags and or journaling cards, and it should include some embellishments, so like ribbons, lace, fibers, flowers, what have you. So if you remember from my first video, I'll go ahead and link the first video here and this one so that way you can refer back to it. I had created my cardstock using the paper napkin from the Dollar Tree, and so that's what it looks like. And so what I want to do is I have to create pockets. I have to think about this. So a lot goes on this page because it's just the one. So I kind of have to think this through. I think since I'm adhering a front and a back, I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this in here as a pocket on both sides. So I think I'm going to do that. And then that way it's just some extra real estate for the person who's getting this. So I think I want to do that. I told you before I wanted to use some lace on the inside here and create some additional pockets. And since it's going to be folded, I'm not sure if I want to stitch, and I'm going to stitch my lace down. I do like stitching in my pages, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I guess I have to decide whether or not I want to stitch up and down here in the middle or just kind of leave it. So I have that. And then let's see what else. These are things, I've done this before and I didn't think it all the way through, and so I left out doing a tuck. And so definitely with swaps, I want to make sure that I adhere to all the rules. So I never want to give somebody something that they, I don't want somebody to expect something and not get it. And because I didn't follow rules, I guess is where I'm trying to go with this. So I'm going to do some stitching. I have my little Janome, kind of matches the wall in my craft studio. I got it, I don't even remember where I got it from. I want to say HSN, Very Dangerous Place, which is a home shopping network. So I have this out. I love it. It has, it's small enough, let me see if I can tilt it. It has straight stitch, it has zigzag stitch, and those are basically the 2 stitches that I use for my junk journals. I use this for paper only. I don't think I've ever sold material. It definitely can handle material. I mean, that's what it's for. It's not for paper stitching. So I know there have been times where I've actually pulled out my bigger sewing machine, my Singer sewing machine for journal stitching, but I'm really trying to use this more so that way I don't have to worry about changing my needles out. So we're going to do some stitching. This particular sewing machine doesn't have a light on it, so I have to totally rely on the lighting here in my studio, so that's always fun. So anywho, since I want to leave this as a pocket, I definitely want to make sure wherever I'm going to do stitching that I do the stitching first before putting these 2 together back to back. Does that make sense? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to sew, since I'm going to be sewing down here, I don't want to sew these shut and lose my pocket here like I wanted to. I want the person who's getting this to have plenty of real estate to put inserts. I mean, who knows? Maybe this person might get to go to Italy and maybe they want to use this particular page in their journal, or maybe they're doing a flow type journal book, and so it'd be kind of nice to be able to put some little extras in there, or maybe she just wants to add to this page and put some little extras in there. So alright, so what I'm going to do is I went ahead and pre-cut some lace and I cut it a little bit bigger, and the reason why I did that is because in the past when I've cut sorry, I gotta clear my throat. In the past when I've cut lace, I've cut it exactly edge to edge, and then when I go to stitch, it gathers a little bit and I lose some of my lace and I'm a little short. So I went ahead and did extra, and then I'm just going to go in and do the 3 sides, I think is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to stitch around. Really sorry about having to clear my throat. And then I have to determine how tall do I want this pocket. I think I don't want to go very tall. Like, even though this is see-through lace, I don't want it to go that high, because then I have this muted background, which is kind of a white tone, and then I have more white here. So I really want all these, I mean, the whole purpose of me, I use my printer to get this vibrant picture. I don't want to waste that effort. So I think I am just going to bring this down about here. I think that's pretty good. Of course, in doing this, I didn't bring any paper clips over to my desk area, so I can, well, I'll just use this temporarily. I do have some paper clips. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to paper clip I guess I don't need to paper clip. Sorry, I'm all over the map. I don't usually do process videos, so I'm kind of learning. So I think I'm going to just, I don't want to waste my lace either, so because I can use it, I have, there's this new thing, well, it's not new, it's kind of trending right now where people are doing these snippet rolls, and so I want to make sure that if I don't need to waste my waste, I'm not going to waste my lace, so I can use it for those later. And if this ends up being a tiny bit crooked, I'm okay with that. And I think I'm just going to do a straight stitch. That'll be okay. And I'm using a brown thread just to kind of keep with those tones. And so, and I'm going to do a backward stitch as well, because I want to make sure that it, hopefully this noise doesn't drown out my voice, but I'm just going to run this along. The edges here. And see if I can get this going pretty quick. And if it's a little crooked, that's okay. It's kind of the fun of it. I used to be pretty OCD and it had to be totally perfect. This particular machine does not go very fast. That's why I think sometimes I've got in the big machine out. Because I can go as fast as I need to by however hard I push on my pedal. This one's just basically one speed. Almost done. Now I need to go just a little bit further. There we go. Okay. And I'm sure, how many of you actually leave your strings loose? I leave them sometimes. I guess I leave them there just in case my recipient likes the loose strings. And if they don't, they can always trim it off, right? So that's nicely stitched through. I've got these pockets here. And you know what? Just to give it some stability, I think I'm going to go ahead and stitch it down the middle. I think it'll make those pockets a little tighter, because right now it's kind of flimsy and it does this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and stitch it in the middle. I think it'll give it stability. And I think I'm going to do it on the back side so I can see the crease. Hopefully I went up far enough. Okay. I am seriously hoping I'm not getting sick, because that would stink. Summer colds are the worst, in my opinion. So I'm not going to leave the loose strings here. Oh, let's see what I did. Oh well, we'll just pretend like that's on purpose. That's what I get from going. See, it's kind of folded down there, but I'm not going to pull that up. It's okay. We'll just pretend like that's done on purpose. Shows a little bit more of the greenery, right? Getting all tangled up in my cord here for my sewing machine. So, okay, so I've got these nice little sturdy pockets. Put something in it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim. I think I want to trim this lace. Obviously I want to trim the lace, but I'm going to trim this lace, and I'm going to use this lace in this project. Waste not, want not. It's perfectly good lace. May as well use it. Normally when I do my my videos, normally I show you the after product. And so this is totally new for me. And hopefully this isn't too boring for you guys, or too slow. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to stitch around the edges. Yeah, I'm going to stitch around the edges. And I need to make sure that it kind of stays still. But what I need to make sure is that I'm not going to do any more lace on the outsides, because if I were to stitch this together already and then I decided I wanted to stitch some lace on it, it would stitch through my pockets. So sometimes kind of have to think about that. So I have this piece here of lace. I'm going to trim it. I think I want to use it. I think I want to make this the belly band, because I have to include a belly band. And I think I want to do it on the back side of my project. So I'm thinking straight up and down. Yeah, I think it's what I'm going to do. Again, I don't want to cover up this paper. I mean, it's pretty as it is, but I want to create something to where they could put something in if they needed to. So yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'm going to do that. So I guess if I was going from top to bottom and I wanted to do the belly band, I could have stitched it on the edges where I plan on doing it, but yeah, that's all right. So I'm going to do that. And I think this time I'm going to zigzag. A tight zigzag. So that way it's really secure, since it is lace. And it doesn't break off. Okay, here we go. And I'm doing a really tight zigzag. And make sure it gets in each one of those little lacy holes, if you will. Okay, that's one. So that's pretty secure. And then I do the other side. And I want to make sure that I pull that pretty taut, because I don't want it to be too loose. I want to make sure it's nice and taut. There's this one YouTube icon that I absolutely adore her. She's such a sweetheart, and her name's Gail. And I love how she always just talks through her projects. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that, but like I said, I'm giving it a go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do this other side. Okay, that was pretty quick. And I'm not going to leave those strings longer than normal. We'll trim those off. So that's pretty tight. I like it. And then I'm going to trim the rest of this off, and then I can use it either as a tab or I can use it for a snippet roll that I eventually want to try my hand at doing. Okay. I'm looking at it and wondering if maybe that's just too white in color. That's okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch on each edge, stitch these closed. Question is, do I want to zigzag it or do I want to straight stitch it? And it's going to show through here really well. It's going to show on both sides. So then that's what I'm thinking. Do I zigzag? Do I have a zigzag stitch going this direction? Or just do a straight stitch? And it's going to be brown. I'm using brown thread. I think I'm going to use a looser zigzag. I don't think I've ever worked with photo paper before, and it shouldn't be that big of a difference, but it's definitely, I've always used cardstock. I've never used an actual picture that I've printed on a journaling page. So this will be my first time doing that. I didn't think you guys need to see me stitching this, but it's doing pretty good. And in anything, one thing to note too, because I went ahead and stitched that belly band first, the one thing I just thought about is by stitching it again, while I'm shutting the edges up of this, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So that looks pretty cool. So one thing about stitching it again, it'll be even more secure. So actually that works out really well because it's like a double stitch in there. Okay, so we're going to do the other side. And again, that'll reinforce this here. So yeah, I think that was amazingly smart. So let's do that. This is definitely going to be a thicker page. Okay. Get my sewing machine going. Yeah, if you guys have never swapped, you should definitely try it. I think it's awesome. I know it's a little scary at first and it's a little intimidating, but once you get the hang of it, you're going to be totally hooked. Done some pretty cool stuff. I get some really amazing stuff. And the one thing about swapping, everybody's got super awesome ideas. And so when you get their swap, when you receive their swap, you might get some new techniques or ideas down. So that's the cool part about it. I know sometimes we kind of get into this rut where we do the same thing over and over and over. It's kind of nice to learn something different and new. But it's definitely intimidating for some people. my background, I used to be a close to my heart consultant, and we used to swap amongst ourselves for different ideas. So where some people might actually like a clean and simple, some people go really elaborate in their projects, and so I tend to be more of a clean and simple in my opinion. And so for me to get something pretty elaborate, it's kind of cool because then I can actually branch out a little bit more. So yeah. Okay, I think I'm just going to cut the strings. That way I think that way I can just keep it really clean. All right, so here it is. It's kind of altered just a tiny bit, and that's okay. I'm going to use my bone folder. Of course, I didn't put it back where I got it. There it is. And just kind of crease this up a little bit more now that I've got 2 pages. And I don't think I'm too concerned about stitching in the middle. I think it's okay. Like I'm not worried about stitching from top to bottom. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. And so I think with the bigger tag that I did in my previous video, I'm just going to put that in there like this with some pretty lace or some jute hanging off of it. So the requirements is 1 pocket, 1 tuck spot, 1 belly band, and then 4 tags, and then ribbons and so forth. So I kind of see the stitching as an embellishment. In my opinion, it is, because a lot of people, I mean, you don't have to do stitching and to take the extra effort. To me, I see that as an embellishment. So I've gotten my pockets definitely covered. So that's taken care of. And I'm already at 22 minutes, so I need to go ahead and conclude this particular video. It's not that I have a certain amount of time. I just kind of want to keep them a little short. So when I get to various stages, I just kind of stop it, and that way you guys can just continue on another time, and that way it's just easier, so you don't have to pause it and then come back to it later. You can just finish the video out. So I need to do my tags. I need to do a tuck spot, and I think that's it. And I definitely want to do some kind of decoration. I'm kind of thinking I need to do like a little bit of a title here of some sort. So maybe I'll find like a 1 quote to put here in the front. I was kind of thinking, I have this wooden tag, so I was kind of thinking maybe do a tuck somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out because I do have to include a tuck, and now that I've got my belly here, so maybe the tuck needs to be here somehow. So maybe I do like a label with a tuck underneath. So I'll have to figure it out. So I'm going to think about that a little bit, and then I will have another video. All right, until next time, have a great one. Thanks.